most times these women have the tendency when they are asked, what is it that you bring to the table? What is it that, you bring as an asset to this relationship? And they are quick to say, well, I got these degrees, I got this business,
They show the whole
I make X
resume.
amount of money. And I just got to be honest, that is not what most men want to hear when I'm asking a woman, yo, what do you bring to the table? What value are you adding to me? It's great that you're able to, hit these things with regards to your business, your career, finances. But often it's women who care more about finances, degrees, education, and the ability to protect and provide. But when a woman is bringing that and trying to convince a man that she's the one, I feel like it's actually not as appealing as she believes it is. Steven says, what's the definition of a boss chick? So, my definition of a boss chick is a woman who is either operating her own business, so she's the CEO, she at the top of the hierarchy, the pyramid, or she's a career woman that is, let's say, for example, she's a partner, she's a CEO, she's a high ranking manager, somewhere where she is in charge of employees, somewhere that her job requires her to exude a great deal of masculine energy. And the reason why
Mm.
I'm bringing up this question of are boss chicks unappealing to most men is because most times these women have the tendency when they are asked, what is it that you bring to the table? What is it that, you bring as an asset to this relationship? And they are quick
Ooh.
to say, well, I got these degrees, I got this
hmm
business,
They show the whole
I make X
resume.
amount of money. And I just got to be honest, that is not what most men want to hear when I'm asking a woman, yo, what do you bring to the table? What value are you adding to me? It's great that you're able to, hit these things with regards to your business, your career, finances. But often it's women who care more about finances, degrees, education, and the ability to protect and provide. But when a woman is bringing that and trying to convince a man that she's the one, I feel like it's actually not as appealing as she believes it is. And that is the rationale behind me wanting to bring this topic to Tatiana and bring it to all of you guys tuning in right now today. So, with that being said, what's your take on it, Tatiana?
On this question that Stephen posted, or on your question?
Either or.
Let's see. So, a boss chick, I was thinking about that independent song. She got her own house. She got her own job. She her own car. She got two jobs. She worked hard. All that stuff. Um, it's like it's a trend as well. That's also a new stereotype of women out here nowadays. You have the over sexualized woman, and then you have the boss girl, the boss woman. It's like she has to be working, and if she's not working, she's not really doing anything with her life. They kind of over or downplay women who want to stay at home and take care of their families.
Right.
And then there's women who want to work themselves to the bone to have both. So I'm
Hmm.
like, yo, you gotta get in where you fit in.
Yeah.
But for why is being a boss chick unappealing to most men? I think it's like a competition factor that comes in. Like if a woman is leading with her pedigree and what she's achieved, that's not really saying much about her character. Maybe it
Right.
shows like maybe she's ambitious or competitive, but what about those things that mean matter to that person that she's on a date with? Because maybe he's
Hmm.
not interested in someone like that. He wants to get to know her on another level. Same if a guy was doing something that she wasn't really interested in knowing. Like, I don't care to know that part, but what about like that's cool and all that you got this diploma here, but it's cool that you got this money. That's great and everything, but what about their character though? At the end of the
Right.
day, we're looking for character because the money can change, the jobs
Hmm.
can change, the title can change. But who are you at the base level? Who are you at your core? And how is that person going to treat me on a daily basis?
That's facts. Big facts. Stephen says, I think it has more to do with the expectation of what a man's role is in a relationship and the expectation to be the main provider, not just from her, but her parents. It's been the cultural normalcy. And he goes on to say, I personally had women declining getting to know me or dating me because I didn't have a degree. And you're right. You're right. There are these benchmarks that many women set. Like, let's just be honest. Nobody here should be unfamiliar to the list that some women have. And a lot of time the list does include man's degree, his education, how much money he earns, like, and give let me be clear. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, right?
Right?
And
Because
to
those are
Stephen's point,
important to an extent.
yeah. And to Stephen's point, I believe it is a part of our culture for women to, and their parents, as he stated, they make an they make an assessment as to how well is this woman going to be taken care of if we put her into this man's hand.
Those are
Because
good questions to
especially,
ask.
hold on, say that.
And those are good questions to ask.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
No doubt. No doubt. And let's just be honest. Sometimes people are not going to meet the qualifications, and that's fair. That's fair. And for me, this isn't so much as men not being willing to meet the qualifications, and that's the reason why they're turned off by the boss chick. Not at all. I think about the men who are able to provide, able to protect. But to me, it's the byproduct of a woman having to be or choosing to be a boss chick. That masculine energy and how conflicting that can be in a relationship with a man. Now, I know people can choose what type of relationship they want to be in, but I'm assuming that the woman wants to ultimately marry and be with a man. And when you talk about any type of relationship, there's what we know as feminine and masculine energy. And there has to be a balance in some regard if though unless those people are going to clash. Because if you bring two people that are highly masculine, the likelihood of those people clashing is high. And I think that when a woman is in that boss chick mode, how well is she going to be able to turn that off? Is
Hmm.
she even willing to flip the switch off? Right? Can someone
Right?
tell me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes they learn the hard way. But yeah, you got to
Mhm.
find that balance because it's like, are you a boss chick only at work, or do you carry that same mentality and mindset and behavior in your other sectors of life? Because there are going to be times where you have to submit to authority of someone else. It's not
Mhm.
always like submission is not only for romantic relationships or marriage. Submission is
Right.
for pretty much every asset of life because you have people that you submit to at work, you have
Mhm.
people that you submit to in other spaces. So just consider that. And a guy, I think if a guy who's traditional in the relationship sense wants to lead in the relationship, there can't be two leaders doing the
Right.
same thing. Like there has to be a leader and a follower. Or if you
Mhm.
have a strength in a certain area, then you have to like kind of like be that person in that area and let the other partner do what they're supposed to do for the relationship.
That's real. That's real. And I got a question for the chat. Do you guys feel in dating and relationships, is a boss chick an asset or a liability to a man that does not need her to provide for him financially? I'm just curious. I just want to pose that question to the chat to see, is she an asset or a liability? Since we talking about bosses, finances, let's keep it with that type of analogy. Is she an asset or is she a liability when she's entering into a relationship with a man that does not need her to provide for him? But with that in mind, Tiffany says a boss chick, the way she defines it, is a woman with a feminist mindset that seems to send signals that she doesn't need a man. I would say
Ooh.
this to be fair. I don't feel like all boss chicks have a feminist mindset, but I would say this. I think that there are quite a few that do fit the bill that Tiffany just created. I definitely believe that there are a lot of them that do fit in that mold for sure. And when you have a feminist mindset to begin with, it's going to be difficult if you are trying to align yourself with a man who has traditional beliefs. And to a certain extent, he does believe in traditional roles between men and women in relationships. So
Uh-uh.
then Tanisha says, I feel a boss chick is a lady who is a leader and CEO in her career and life and doesn't need a man to be happy. Yeah. And I mean, we've talked about this before, Tatiana. I can't remember we talked about it here on the stream, but there are some women who do fix their mouth to say they don't need a man. And I get it. I get it. I know what they're trying to say. But the last thing that a man wants to hear is that a woman doesn't need him. And not in the sense of like, oh, I need you and I can't live without you and I just gotta have you. But I don't know anybody that wants to be in a relationship with somebody and they don't feel like that person has a need for them in their life.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, what's the point of being in the relationship with that
Right.
person? I see what Tanisha's saying. Like, they don't need a man to be happy. Yeah, you shouldn't rely on another human being to make you happy. That's the individual work that you have to do and find what makes you happy. They should
Mhm.
add to your life. Yeah, you should want someone who's going to add to your life and be an asset to your life. And if that makes you happy, then that's great. So I don't know if the guy who has a job, has his own, has basically doesn't need his woman to work, for example. If she wants to work
Hmm.
and he still wants to be with her, I guess that's an asset because that means there's dual income for the household. Because like that's up to him to continue to pursue that woman. You approach her, y'all get to know her, and you figured out that she's a boss chick, and you got the means to provide for both her and yourself and your family. That's up to you as a man. Like, do you want someone who has an ambitious mindset? They want to work. They want to. They have dreams. They have visions. I think you shouldn't stop or hinder someone who wants to go after that. Because what if God put it in their heart to be in the marketplace, to make business decisions that impact people's lives? Like, we don't want to. This is where that equally yoked stuff comes from. We had to think about sometimes the details of that person's life and what God has called them to do. It's not always going to fit maybe your ideal, and you have to like look at it for what it is. Like, this is a great woman. She's a woman of integrity. She got this and that going on, and this is what she wants to do. This is her vision for her life.
Right.
Do I fit in there? Does it line up with what my vision is for my life? Does it line up for where God's leading me? These are the questions that people need to sincerely ask themselves when they're getting to know other people.
Right.
You can't try to change someone just because they have a set thing that they do. But if it's giving off masculine energy, then that's something she has to be aware of and work out with herself.
Most definitely. And Tiffany says, yes, that masculine energy creates conflict in the relationship and home. And I agree. It does, man, because, and I got to be clear, it's all about men who have a more traditional mindset, right?
Okay.
I know that there are some men who they don't care, right?
Yeah.
But when we're talking about traditional men who have a traditional mindset, I believe that they want their woman to be more feminine than masculine. And
Mhm.
I'm just speaking for myself. Like, I do not want a woman that exudes a plethora of masculine energy. I just don't. Like, that doesn't mean that I want to be domineering or controlling, but I want the majority of the feminine energy within our house to be exuding from her.
Mhm.
And that's just the way that I personally look at it. And Tiffany says, if she's willing to submit to male leadership and support his vision, a boss chick can be an asset. That's
I
fair. I
agree.
agree.
I
I
agree
agree.
for sure.
I agree. No doubt. No doubt.